So, Mr. Pearson, thanks for joining us. Now, for the benefit of people in York that might not know so much about Hull City, could you tell us how, in such a short space of time, you've gone from almost going bankrupt with the gates locked at Boothry Park to being top of the league with a beautiful 25,000 all-seater stadium?
Well, it doesn't seem to have happened overnight here. We've been involved now since March 2001, so it's taken a bit longer than I thought, but we are getting there. Obviously, we've had great support from the City Council, which is invaluable, as you'll know from the York City experience of recovering a club, and we have had great support. They've built this stadium and they've given it to me to manage for 25 years, so it's very much put the destiny back in our hands. It drives through great commercial revenues, which mean that the football club has been able to grow and prosper. We've been able to invest in players. Obviously, as we invested in players, the team's got better, and it's a self-perpetuating fact that better players, better team lead to bigger crowds.
So, obviously, as a York fan myself, one thing that people always get slightly irritated by Hull fans who keep saying we're a massive club with massive potential, yet for years Hull, the club, has been in the doldrums. Why do you think Hull has spent so much time in the doldrums?
Well, I think because of its potential, it's attracted the wrong principals and owners of the club, and I think everybody sees that it could be financially viable as a football club, and they are few and far between in the nationwide league. So it's perhaps attracted people who have wanted to do it on the cheap, and I think for the first time in 2001 we had no debt when we came out of the CVA, and we invested in players, and we invested in the football club and the infrastructure of the club, and we run it properly, and we're running it for the long term, and I think that hasn't happened all the time in the past. And we're sort of getting the rewards now. I think we're getting massive gates. Obviously we're averaging over 16,000, and we've got a good squad of players. We've also got a stadium that commercially stands on its own 2 feet.
So again, one of the strange things I think looking from the outside is how a club that was getting averages of 9,000 at Boothry Park is suddenly getting gates of over 20,000 for some of the games like Doncaster. Where have these people come from?
Well, yeah, I mean, when we came in 2001, the average gate was 5,500, and now it's 16. But I think between now and the end of the season, we'll be pushing on towards 21,000. But they've really come because at Boothry Park it was a limited support. There was no children, no families, no female support at all. Here it's the day out. We get a huge family support, and children come in. Female sports gone from 3% to 18%, and it's becoming, the demographics are becoming those of a Premier League club rather than those of a struggling third division club in an old and what was not a very welcoming stadium.
So on Boxing Day, Hull beat York 2-0, and we gave about 3,200 tickets. Now, one thing I noticed is there's a lot of families there, and obviously in the past it hasn't necessarily been the case. Do you think that represents that some of the original supporters from Boothry Park have kind of been not priced out but kind of pushed aside?
No, I think all the existing supporters we had at Boothry Park are here. They've definitely come along. The prices are just the same as they were at Boothry Park, perhaps £1 more expensive, but certainly, you know, they're comparable to York on that day. So I don't think we're pricing people out at all. I think far from it. The family tickets that are on offer on season tickets are very, very cheap and offer a great value.
So if we'll move on to Saturday's opponents, York City, obviously now the club's run by the fans. What do you think of that?
Well, I think they're certainly making a lot better job of it than the previous 2 incumbents, and I believe they've got the best interests of the club at heart, which is, I think, really these days all the supporters can ask for. It's difficult for chairmen to win these days. If they overinvest, they get pilloried. If they underinvest, they still get pilloried. So it's difficult, but I honestly believe at least the people you've got in place now, they may not have unlimited funds, but they've got the best interests at heart, and that's a good starting point.
Does it really matter if clubs like York City disappear in the future?
Oh, crikey, yeah, it matters incredibly. I mean, you know, the whole network value of 92 clubs, to me, is still 92. It's still the whole league, and Premier League is part of that, although they like to think they're not. But to keep football franchises in every major city in the country is absolutely imperative. And, you know, this football club has helped out a number of football clubs over the last few months who have needed help on quietly, because we believe that 72 nationwide league clubs are absolutely intrinsic to what is the value of football.
Well, certainly the help that we received from Hull City fans was very much appreciated in York, and I think last season we actually made an announcement to say thank you on the pitch.
Well, I mean, it's not a great financial investment, that, but I do think that if York City ever phoned this football club for support, which they have done once or twice, we would back them up.
So what are your expectations of Saturday's game?
Well, we'll win. No, we would like to win. is becoming very, very important. And you know, clubs that are still coming here at this moment in time raise their game, still playing. It's still playing in front of 20,000 people in a great stadium does lead to a more sort of a cup final type atmosphere all the time, and clubs have raised their game. But York have been here before, and they were unlucky not to win here last year, and we know all about them. Play good football, don't give anything away, without tempting fate that perhaps all they lack is a regular goal scorer. So we know it's going to be a hard game. We know all about York, and we know how difficult it was Boxing Day.
Now, you mentioned last year's game. It was, yeah, I agree, we're unlucky to win.
Yeah,
one of the issues from the fans' point of view, I think, was sometimes that we felt the policing was a bit heavy-handed, and some of the stewarding left a bit to be desired. Obviously, we kept in for quite a long time after the match, and then obviously some fans were bussed off to Brough Station. Right?
I don't know about that.
So is that kind of thing an issue, dealing with away supporters? As you say, it's a beautiful place to come, therefore the away support will be increased.
Yeah, no, we definitely want, you know, them to have a good day out. It's so important that we get away support at this ground. You know, without the away support, it can appear pretty quiet and it can appear pretty empty in atmosphere. I mean, all our supporters say when we've got away support, it helps. So we definitely want to have a good day. We stopped it last year, but we've reintroduced holding fans back. We're trying to keep it to 10 to 15 minutes. We're finding that the majority of the fans prefer that. It does mean that everybody's left the ground. It does mean they can get away quicker and possibly safer. Because we'd be fooling ourselves if we said we hadn't got a small element of support that can still be a little bit lively and cause trouble when we just do not want to. We are taking measures against those people, but we still feel it's safer to hold them back at this time. I think if you come on Saturday, you'll find the stewarding, I believe, now is at the right level with regard to being firm but fair.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. I'd like to wish you luck, but of course that's against my religion, because I think we're going to win. But thanks very much for your time.
No problem.